What's going on? What's going on? How you doing? Thank you, Recovery family, for joining us. My name is Slim, along with Nani Al Jaleo, and welcome to Sharing Our Stories. If you're just joining us for the first time, where have you been? You're supposed to be here to celebrate recovery with us. This program is all about celebrating recovery. We bring in folks who have dealt with addiction to drugs and or alcohol, and they are here to share in their journey to recovery, the struggles that they went through in addiction, how they found, and where they are in their life thus far. We should call it sharing our story thus far. But that's what this program is about, because truly believe that there's similarities between our recoveries, but yet they're all unique. And with each story of recovery, there's the ability to share with folks a pathway to recovery, to understand how recovery happens, and maybe be a little bit more accepting, a little bit more understanding, and be able to be there for a friend or family member, or just listen to a story to support ourselves in our recovery or help us find our recovery. So that's what this is about. That's what we're here to share. Nani on the side with me, and in between us, sandwiched in between us, the one and only Erik Russell.
How are you?
Doing great, man. I'm gonna let Nani do the big introduction for you here.
All right.
Yeah, let me
Make
do
it
that.
good.
It better be a good one. So this is Erik Russell. Erik has just celebrated 2 years, right? Just like a week ago. And is a really important and valuable member of the 12-Step Fellowship. So in the 12-Step Fellowship, there is what's called hospitals and institutions. And oftentimes, like when I think of hospitals and institutions, sometimes that's the first place that people ever learn about what it means to be in a 12-step fellowship, or who those people are, what it looks like. And Erik is one of those guys that really, really does a lot of work within hospitals and institutions and carries the message to the addict who still suffers. So I'm really happy that you're here, Erik, and you get to tell your story. So,
Yeah, I appreciate the welcome. Thanks for asking me to be here. Nani, obviously, we know each other from NA. We're good friends, and I just met Slim. And I really like the idea of this. I was looking it up on YouTube. I subscribed, and the getting the message out is the name of the game. Because, as you said, hospitals and institutions. That's talking about hospitals, jails, rehabs, the psychiatric centers, and I found, my recovery is based in Narcotics Anonymous. I found Narcotics Anonymous in a rehab. It was a meeting much like the ones that I take to different rehabs around Denver. So I didn't even know that Narcotics Anonymous was a thing. And I certainly didn't follow the suggestions when I found out it was a thing. But it took me about a year of chronic relapse, going back to rehab, relapse, getting arrested, going back to rehab, relapse, getting in a car accident. It was just 2022 was the worst year of my life, and I've had some bad ones. And that was the year that I finally decided that I was going to shut up and listen to other people and take the suggestions and find people who were able to sustainably stay clean and still live their lives the way they wanted to. I'm a know-it-all. I thought that I could outthink this. I'm well educated. I thought that, if I just blank, I can use a little, I can drink a little.
Tried all those things.
All of it. I tried every combination. I tried meditation, and which is powerful, and it's therapeutic and it's helpful. It doesn't keep me clean. I tried Dharma, which was excellent. Didn't keep me clean. I tried working out. Working out by yourself does not help with loneliness and frustration and shame and guilt. It just, it's natural endorphins, but it doesn't help with those kinds of things. So I needed a program with steps. So I found one. What I really like about the Narcotics Anonymous program is that it's about changing your way of life and changing your thought patterns. It's not just about one substance. It's about, we say I'm clean, not I'm sober. because am I a good father? Am I contributing to my community? Am I giving back to people? Am I a responsible human being? That's what being clean means to me. So that's why I found Narcotics Anonymous to be the one that saved my life. So that's where I'm at now.
Yeah.
And just I got my 2-year coin here.
Yeah, let's see that thing.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So what was it that led you in your addiction to begin with, Eric? Like, where did it start for you?
My addiction?
Yeah.
Having gone to so many treatment centers, my therapist at one of them said that I basically started with both addictive tendencies and suicidal ideations when I was 6 or 7 years old. There was abuse. There was sexual abuse at some point before I could remember. And I just basically hated myself my whole life. And what that led to was me trying to fill that God-sized hole, and fix internal problems with external things. How do I look? How cool is my car? How cool is my hair? How much money do I have? And it was always just this fascination and preoccupation for me as far back as I can remember. I had to be the best athlete, the smartest student. I had to win everything. And it's because I hated myself. And when I became old enough it was really when I went to college, senior year in high school or college, I just exploded. My addiction is more, I do not know what moderation is. People would be like, hey, do you want to go out for a drink? And I'm like, what's a drink? Like, what is one drink? I'll drink the bottle. It was just always more. I always had to have more, because of this self-hatred I had and this just hollow feeling that's really been with me my entire life until recently. So
Wanting to heal something internally with things externally. I
Yeah.
think for so many of us, that really resonates. So you found your way to Narcotics Anonymous 2 years ago. And then in your daily life, what are some of those things that, I know service is a big one for you. What are some of those things that you stay in every day?
So my sponsor, I have a sponsor, he has a sponsor, and I sponsor 3 men. It's the basic 5, is what my sponsor told me. He said, keep it simple. He said, go to meetings, get a sponsor, work the 12 steps, don't pick up no matter what, and be of service. That's it. So now on a daily basis, if I'm not doing an H&I meeting, I'm speaking with my sponsees, I'm speaking with my sponsor, I'm going to a meeting, I'm doing an H&I, and that doesn't count just, the regular fellowship that we have going on. There's the men's spiritual breakfast coming up on Saturday. We do barbecues, we do Halloween parties. It's not just, meetings or nothing. There's a lot of fellowship. And what I really found to be helpful was fellowship of other men. According to my therapists in treatment, I have borderline personality disorder, and I'm also a sex addict. And so that constant validation from women, or winning awards, or winning getting money, all that, it just was, I always had to have something reassuring me that I wasn't worthless. And so to have a relationship with a man as my sponsor and men as my sponsees, it's really a help the next man up kind of mentality.
And be accountable.
Yeah, and you're accountable. And if I,
especially when you're open enough to say, hey, I'm a sex addict. So now those men in your life hold you accountable for that.
Exactly. And I'm embracing, for the first time in a long time, for maybe ever, monogamy. don't know what that was like. I know
And you're
what that's
married?
like now. No, I got divorced several years ago as a result of the addiction.
Okay.
I have a girlfriend now.
Okay.
And
Well, there's the blessing there.
yeah, so it's strange how you'll find blessings in the darkest of corners. I loved my ex-wife very much, but you know, through all of this, I don't think that we were necessarily right for one another. And now we continue to be really good friends and good parents, good co-parents together. So we've made the best of it. But it's strange.
But you can
how-
only do that through your healing, though.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because when you're in the darkness, it you know, like I said, I've had suicidal ideation since I was 6 or 7 years old, and when I would use, it would always go to suicide. It was always the one card I had in my pocket. No matter how bad things get, I can always kill myself, which is a really messed up way to think. And I know that's not an option anymore. I have beautiful children. I have a great life. I have people that depend on me. I depend on other people. I'm a piece of this puzzle, and I found that I belong. And you know, I always had a lot of friends growing up, but I was never like in a group. You know, I was always kind of like just on the outside. I never really fit in, and it makes a lot of sense. But
A lot of loneliness, because
Yeah.
that's what word you used 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, that really stuck out when you said
Yeah.
you were working out. Working out doesn't
Doesn't give
fix
you-
the loneliness.
and a meeting does, and the fellowship of, you know, and I didn't come here just to be a poster child for Narcotics Anonymous, because I know, just like we were talking about, you know, religion, that everybody has their own journey and their own path, and we pray that they all find it. You know, I don't wish for anybody's demise anymore, especially mine. I don't want people to fail. I want, no matter how you get there,
Mhm.
I want you to get there. And you know, that's I think if you know, I've said this in meetings before, that I think even if you're not an addict, I think everybody would benefit from running through the 12 steps a couple times.
I'm happy that you're here.
100%.
Happy that you're here as a spokesman
Yeah.
for Narcotics Anonymous.
Yeah.
Not a poster child, a spokesman.
Yeah.
Saying this was what worked for me.
Yeah, and that's all I
Maybe
can
it
say.
can work for
Yeah.
you. Maybe it can work for a family member.
Which is a big difference, because if you asked me, you know, especially when I was in rehab 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I knew everything. I knew how to do it. I knew how to, and then every time I got out, I got high and I messed up. And now I know that all I can speak for is this addict. This is what worked for me. My sponsor says this is what worked for him. I'm following his path, and I go to all these meetings, and I get to hear different points of view, and it's just made a world of difference. And that doesn't mean life doesn't still get lifey. You know, life is lifey, and
There's low moments happening at
Man.
any time.
Yeah.
Don't even see it coming.
and I'm
Suddenly you're in a head-on
Head on
collision,
collision.
Yep.
No more.
which Nani
Car.
just happened to
Just
have.
happened to happen.
I
Just had that happen.
you know, I'm going through a lot of things right now, but I can do it clear-headed. And it's like I was so foggy for so long that I couldn't see, I couldn't make good decisions. And now that I'm clean, I can see kind of where I'm supposed to go, what I'm supposed to do, what feels like the right thing to do, unencumbered by substances or chronic depression or, you know, anxiety and all those things that go together, because addiction is a mental illness.
Yes.
It's a disease, it's a mental illness, and I'm doing what I can to hopefully end. I'm not going to end it. I'm not that grandiose, but to help end the stigma that people see when they see addicts as bad people, immoral people. They are sick people who do stupid things because they're sick. And that's
Sick
kinda-
people trying to get well.
sick people trying to get well.
Yep.
And you know, I found a way. So
It's not an easy thing to do. If it was so easy, we would all just do it.
Yeah.
If there was one way to do it, we'd all follow the one way and it would be done.
They'd have a pill for it.
Mm. Not yet, huh?
Didn't they?
Not yet.
And you said you wanted to end the stigma, but you do. And you said, but you can't do that, but you can for somebody.
Yeah.
You know, and if we can affect one person, you know, and that's, you know, one of the things that I think when we pass on what we've been through, it's with the hope of helping someone else either not be there or get through it themselves.
Yeah. And if you consider the hereditary nature of addiction, the disease, I look at my kids, and I have a 22-year-old, a 19-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a soon-to-be 7-year-old. And the two older kids got to see me at my absolute worst. And the silver lining therein is they don't have any desire to drink, party, get high, and, you know, they're focused. They're, you know, I'm worried about the two younger kids, and it's my job to show them that, you know what, stuff happens, life happens. Get up. I got this bracelet on that says, get knocked down 7 times, stand up 8. And that's what I'm trying to teach my younger kids is, yeah, dad went through some stuff. Yep. Mom and dad don't live together anymore, and we can get through it. And there's always somebody that can help you. And if I can just help one person, or even if I just help my kids, you know, I've done my job, and I'll continue to try to do more.
What was life like 3 years ago? That last year in your addiction?
I'm going through some things right now because I had absolutely no desire or intention of surviving it. And the bad thing is so I had been sober from alcohol from 2010 to 2021. And all I knew back then was sober or not sober. Didn't know NA existed. I didn't know, you know, whatever. I smoked weed now and then, but whatever. I relapsed really hard in July of 2021 at the absolute peak of my life. I did not respond negatively to bad things. I responded negatively to positive stress. I was making more money than I'd ever dreamed. I was living in a beautiful house in Parker. I had the family, we had the cars, we had the vacations, we had everything. And I said, wow, I still really don't feel good. How can I make this feel better? So 2021, I relapsed, but I thought it was okay since I had been going to AA for a while. I thought it was okay if I smoked weed and bought a bunch of cocaine. I wasn't drinking. The only requirement for AA membership is a desire to stop drinking.
Yeah.
So I'm bending my own rules. And that's what we lie the worst to ourselves as addicts. And you guys know what I'm talking about. And we find a way around every rule. And that was, wow, I sure can sell a lot when I'm high on cocaine. I owned a business until very recently. I sold it, and I was making, and then it just got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. It's like my marriage was falling apart. I was killing myself health-wise. I sure was making a lot of money, and everybody was so proud of me. And I moved out. I moved out of my house and got my own condo in Parker, so I could still go see the kids and pick them up from school and go to dinner at the house and all that. My wife and I were fighting, but I moved out for 3 months, and then I by the end of March of 2022, I was doing 5 grams of Coke and 1.5 liters of vodka every day. And my body just gave out. Yeah. And I would wake up. I remember it because I'm a child of the 80s and 90s, and all my favorite musicians were the Chris Cornell's and the Stone Temple Pilots and the Nirvanas. And if you find a recurring theme, all their lead singers have all overdosed or killed themselves. And I would wake up and I wouldn't wake up. I would pass out. And then when I came to, I would turn on 4 a.m. I would turn on this playlist of just like unbelievably sad grunge music, and I would cry, and I would fall asleep. I had an AR-15 and a 9mm on my coffee table, just waiting, just like, when's it gonna happen? Well, I passed out. I'll kill myself tomorrow. And it was just messed up. And thank God, my wife at the time, she came and packed me into the car, and this was when COVID was going on, so I had to go and get a COVID test at Walgreens, and then she drove me to rehab down in Monument, and it was then I started making the rehab Ferris wheel. Get out, go back to rehab. Oh, well, you never give up. You just sure don't give up. I was like, no, I'm just dumb and I don't take suggestions. And I found Narcotics Anonymous at Parker Valley Hope in December of 2021. And I didn't start going to an actual NA meeting outside of rehab until January of 2023. So,
and you were still bouncing back between using and sobriety.
We sold our house. We were going to get back together. We sold our house in Parker and bought a house in Garden City, Kansas, where my ex-wife's from. I got out of rehab, relapsed on the way to Kansas, and I relapsed in Kansas, drove back to Colorado, hotel hopped for a couple weeks, suicide watch, got taken back to Penrose Hospital. I had 3 welfare check suicide watches that I got pulled into the hospital. I've been to every hospital in Colorado Springs. Not that that's win an award for that. But it was just chaos. It was insanity. And that's all recovery promises you, is a daily reprieve from the insanity of addiction. I have this, I'm not going to cuss, but I have this bracelet on that says, one day at a effing time. It's just for today. That's all I can bank on.
Yeah. So the first, and I'm the same as you, Eric, the first time I heard the message of Narcotics Anonymous was in a hospital and institution. I came from the world of treatment too. And I vividly remember those people who would bring the meetings into us, and I remember being in awe about how is it possible that they have years and years of clean time. I'm like, what? This is not even a thing. And then it took me a little while too to get into a meeting after I had initially left. But yeah, just those people who would come in and carry that message, and just knowing now in hindsight, you never really realize the life that you're touching at the time, because all you're doing is just carrying the message, and how profound it can be on somebody else's world,
So every man that I sponsor or have sponsored, the statistics are not good. 80% go into a treatment center, and you look around, and I point this out to them all the time. 80% to 90% of everybody in that room is not going to make it. That doesn't mean they're going to die right away, but they're not going to get clean. They're not going to get their life back on track. They're not going to find, the serenity, or at least that daily reprieve. And the statistics are not good. So every man that I have sponsored or am sponsoring comes from H&I. And they come up to me and ask me, hey, and I say, yeah, let's start chit-chatting on a daily basis. If you can show me that you are in it to win it and want this, then I will help you. But really what they're doing is they're helping me. And I point this out a lot, is that, people get scared. Oh, I was scared to ask you or ask somebody to sponsor me. I just feel bad, like I'm a moocher. And I'm like, no, that's not how it works. It's next man up. My sponsor helped me up. I help you up. You help the next guy up. And that's the only way it works, and that's the only way it needs to work. And like you said, carrying the message, experience, strength, and hope, and action. It's, because hope without action is worthless. A goal without a plan is just a wish. So that's why we have steps.
Sponsorship, I always think that the very first time anybody ever asked me to be their sponsor, it was such a humbling experience. And then there was this fear that came over me too, where I'm like, this person trusts me to do this with them. And then I remember, like, nothing we ever do is perfect, but that's what it is. It's just you're a little bit ahead of the in your literature than the next person, and something that you've experienced. Oftentimes, it's like that person sees something in you that they say, God, I would really love to be able to have something like that for myself too.
Exactly. And then when I hand out meeting lists. We have these paper meeting lists that I hand out every Friday at Cedar, where I do my main H&I meeting, and I give it to them. I said, there's 187 meetings in person in Denver every week. There's no excuse to not get to one. There's thousands of Zoom meetings. And when I tell people, when people get nervous about, well, how do I know if I'm trying to sponsor? How do I know if that's the right person? I'm like, just quit. Don't overthink it. You're going to hear somebody say something and it's going to click. My sponsor found me. And I don't know how it happened. I mean, I just happened to be at a meeting that he happened to be at. It wasn't our home group, wasn't our regular. I was fresh off I was fresh back from the liquor store, and it just worked out. And it's just funny how it just works out. If all you can do is your best. Once you do your best, literally everything else is out of your control. That's all you can do. So if you're doing the 5 things that my sponsor told me to do, you're working the steps, you're going to meetings, you're working with a sponsor, you're being of service, and you're not picking up, that's your best. It's gonna work out. Life still gets lifey, but guess what? You're not high, you're not broke, you're not homeless. You can handle your problems now with a clear head. And that's just that's just like my mantra.
Yeah, great mantra.
Yeah, it's not mine. Everything you hear in these meetings is copied and pasted from somebody else. But that's the name of the game. Is this disease is stronger than you, Slim. It's stronger than you. It's stronger than me. It's stronger than any of us individually. It's definitely not stronger than all of us collectively. And that's the only way to do this. And
you're so right. I mean, I didn't go through a 12-step program, but if it wasn't for people being in my life at the right time, for a community of people to help me in my recovery, I wouldn't be here.
Community. And we hug in NA. In fact, we say, when you come to NA, we say, we hug in NA, and then we grapple you with a hug. People get figured it out. I realized that before I had come into the rooms of either AA or NA, I don't believe I had received or given a hug to somebody who wasn't a family member in like 5 years. I'm a chronic hugger now. It's good. Like, I walk down the street and like I like hug like random people, and then I remember I don't know who they are. Gonna get arrested. So yeah, it's a, like I said, it's a different way of life. It's a different way of thinking. And if you've done any therapy, if you've done any CBT, any cognitive behavioral therapy, whatever, it's the same stuff. It's change the way you think will change your action, will change the results, will change your emotions, will change the result. It's a circle of positivity. And it all starts with changing the way you think about yourself, your community. And we say in our readings, give yourself a break. You're sick. Your addiction, you're not responsible for your addiction. You are responsible for your recovery. So,
I find it incredible from what I'm hearing that you never gave up on trying to get clean, because you kept going back after relapse after relapse, going through a 12-step program, and you tried other things, but you said you didn't go back to those. Oh, but you kept going to this 12-step. What was the breaking point in going to the 12-step where you stopped relapsing? Or has been, because it's 2 years now.
Well,
And I mean, it's still
January
hard.
27, 23 is my clean date. 12723. And I remember that I had been at odds with my mom. My stepfather, her husband, had recently died. And I had just gotten kicked out of like the third motel hotel in Colorado Springs that I was at, because every time you do a welfare check, you get kicked out. You can go back. And I really just I had no place to go. And I went to my mom's house, and she opened the door, and we both just started crying. And she had been really lonely since my stepfather had died. I loved him, but I had major problems with my stepfather growing up. So we were at odds about that. And it was me going to my mom's house and finding a place where I could sleep safe and not get high and talk it over with my mom. I hadn't spoken to her in probably 8 months. The whole year that I was in rehab, I didn't see her, didn't talk to her much. My dad was really the one that was there for me, picking me up, taking me back to rehab, picking me up from suicide watch. My dad really came through, coming to pick me up so I didn't drunk drive. I was getting drunk at my sober living houses, and it was me going and staying there I stayed there for about 5 days with my mom. She's alone in the house, and her son showed up, the prodigal son. And I remember she said, well, why don't you go to a meeting? And I said, I don't want to go to an AA meeting. And she said, well, what else is there? And I literally, like I told you, I Google everything. I Googled NA meetings Denver. And that's still what I tell every person at my H&I to do. It's real hard. Google NA meetings Denver. And I found BYOL. That's my own group. And I went the next day, and that's it. That was it. And I found people that I was like, oh my God, I know what you're talking about. I heard my story. I met my sponsor after a couple of weeks, and I made it as much a priority in my life as getting high was. More actually, because you know damn well we get up, we're gonna get high, no matter what. No money, no house, we're gonna find a way. Now I wake up and I'm gonna get clean. I'm gonna stay clean today. I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna help another person. I'm gonna make a phone call or answer the phone. I'm a texter. I don't like phone calls. I pick up the phone and I make phone calls now, and it's weird.
That's awesome.
But I have to hear a voice, and people need to hear my voice. I have a sponsee that relapsed this morning. He left treatment early against AMA, against medical advice. And damn, if he didn't text me right away and tell me, told him he's loved. But if he keeps relapsing, I'm gonna have to love him from the other side of the street, because I know how to get high and he knows how to get high. But I'm trying to teach him how to get clean. I'm trying to stay clean. So he's,
Gotta have a boundary.
yeah. And, and then he's a great guy. Great guy. People love him. I love him. He's a great dude. But he did what he's supposed to do, Call him, tell your sponsor.
Yeah.
But
it's a big step.
And we can only carry the message, not the attitude.
Yeah, we can't
And
carry
that's
the
one of the first things that I think any of us ever learn if we're open to hear. You can't work harder for somebody else in their program than they can for themselves.
Which drove me nuts, because being like, I was trained by know-it-alls. Like my mom's favorite thing to say was, did you know? Right? And God bless her. She's very, very smart. She's a doctor. But did you know? So I'm this unbelievable know-it-all. And damn, if you didn't find me like 3 days clean in rehab telling everybody how to live their lives. And it pissed me off when I realized that I can't save anybody. now it's very cathartic and it's a huge weight off my back because I don't have to save anyone but myself. And that is worth more than you can know.
So what does daily recovery look like now?
Daily recovery for me.
Give me a day, just start top to bottom.
So it's been weird because, like I said, I sold my business, and I had been doing that for 12 years, an insurance agency that was very successful. But I'm still kind of foot in the door, kind of selling. It's a really long story why, but what I'm doing now is I got licensed to be, or I'm a licensed peer coach. So I'm looking for places, haven't really started looking because I'm still dealing with the insurance business stuff, but I'm about to put a big flame under my butt to go and find work doing peer coaching. It's what I want to do. It's my purpose. It's my goal, and it's what drives me. I'm in a band. I'm a lead singer in a rock band, and everybody in the band is clean, which is weird because we did not find each other at an NA meeting. We just, my son takes this class at ACC called Pop Rock Ensemble, and it's a community ed class. Anybody can join. So we've got 18-year-olds and 80-year-olds in there, like trombone players, guitar, drummers. And all we do is pick out a bunch of songs and we rehearse them, and then we do a concert at the end of the semester. My son has been in that class for the last couple of years just for fun. And when I got clean, I went to his concert and I said, I'm still addicted to chips. I said, this would be super cool because I play the drums, I play sax, and I love to sing. So I started up at this class, and within 2 weeks, I feel bad. My son's been trying to find a band in there for 3 years, and I was in there for 2 weeks, and these two people asked me if I'd join their band, a bassist and a drummer, boyfriend, girlfriend. And so I joined their band, and so now
you don't let your son come and jam with you guys.
He's not into the kind of music that we play.
Okay.
Yeah, but he did. He found a couple people a few weeks ago to be in a band with. So.
And you play some of the alternative grunge, right?
Yeah, we call it. Funny, I'm a drug addict, but we call it acid grunge because it's kind of like it's classic rock with a little bit of blues, with a little bit of 90s grunge in there, and it's a healthy way for me to really love the music that I love, the Tool and the Soundgarden and the Nirvana, without wanting to blow my brains out. It's yeah. So I get to actually perform that kind of stuff now instead of mope about it.
Next September is the recovery rally in Civic Center Park.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you know about it.
Yep.
You got to let us know before September so I can put you in contact with Advocates for Recovery so your band can play there.
Oh, how cool would that be?
Right? Because that's exactly, we're always looking for entertainment at the
We
rally.
love our friends at Advocates.
Yeah.
Well, I love it. And the fact that, we've said this before, all four of us, because we fight, actually my sponsee brother, a keyboardist, just joined the band. So now there's 5 of us, but we're all clean and we all found each other not through recovery avenues, which I think is kind of a sign. And if, one of the cool things about finding your higher power is, I'm not going to get too far into it, but everybody has their own path, right? My higher power, first off, it was me. I'm God, right? That didn't work. That didn't work well at all.
I tried that too.
Yeah, right? A lot of us have. And then I said, okay, something greater than myself, a power greater than myself. Okay, these 5 people sitting next to me in the rooms in Narcotics Anonymous, and that worked great. And then my sponsor, and then Narcotics as a whole, and then it just became the universe. It just became the fact that I have a purpose again, that I don't feel empty, that I belong and I can contribute and I can give back. So when I say that I have my higher power and I'm clean and I can see what's happening, it's like the universe tells me what to do. And that's just an example. I've wanted to be in a band since I was 13 years old. And it wasn't until I was 41 years old and finally got clean that it actually happened. So it's it keeps going back to it. You do what you're supposed to do your best, have a little faith, and things are going to happen for you in the right way. So.
Amen. Our guest here is Erik Russell. So you're a peer recovery coach. When did you finish that up? That schooling?
I did the 60 hours a couple months ago with some friends in NA, and we did it at the Stout Street Foundation. Joseph taught a really cool class, and I decided I was mid rehab. I think it was like June 2022. And I was just like, man, I don't want to do insurance.
That's
anymore.
what I was going to ask.
I don't
you.
want to
Okay.
be a damn insurance agent. I don't want that to be my legacy, insurance god. And I saw all of these. I saw all these people around. Yeah, which is what I thought I was. And I saw all these people around me suffering, and I saw me suffering, and I'm like, God, why do I cry all the time? And why are all these people? I was like, I'm gonna start leading meetings, and that's where I first got a taste of it. Like they would show you at treatment how to lead the meetings, how to do the readings, NAAA, Dharma, whatever it was. And then at first, of course, I was like, oh yeah, pay attention to me, look at me, I'm teaching you. And then I realized that it wasn't the validation that was making me feel good. It was the fact that I was making me feel good, and other people were feeling good doing these things. And I said, that would be a pretty cool way to live your life. And that's when I decided to do it. So
The peer recovery coaches, there's something I know that you are an academic, and that, but there is people with lived experience getting to be a part of helping people get to this side. I mean, and I love academia. I love the institution of education. I think it's amazing, but there is just something that is so beautiful about people with lived experience getting to be a part of helping support people, because we know.
Yeah, and metaphors are metaphors for a reason, but the school of hard knocks, it's like, you want to talk about waking up on a bus stop with a needle in your arm. Like, you talk to an addict, you talk to somebody that's been through that, and it doesn't have to just be addiction. It's mental illness. Have you lived through postpartum? Have you lived through borderline personality disorder? Because it all ties in together. It's the spirit of me helping you helping me.
One of the things before you came in that Nani put in the words about you, we always have a little rundown of our guests, was the highlight of your recovery. One of the highlights, the discovery that your future will consist of helping other people find recovery.
Yep. And that's enough. Excuse me. I always joke. I say, if I hadn't gotten married or had kids, I'd be a millionaire by now. But through that, my kids, they're the best thing in my life.
They make you a
millionaire. I got my daughter has the gymnastics tournament on Saturday, and my son has wrestling championships on Sunday in Kansas. I'll be going to that. I get to go to that. Other people helping me get clean is what now allows me to be present and intentional. And I hate those terms, present and intentional, but they're for real. It allows me to be in my kids' lives. Maybe not the way they originally thought I would be, divorced, living in a different state, but I get to be there because other people helped me. I'm not here of my own volition. I didn't do this on my own. I'm here by the grace of other people who cared, who took me back to rehab, who wouldn't let me give up, who took my guns. I'm here because other people helped me. And, I believe in the pay it forward mentality. So
anything you would want to say to somebody who has a family member or themselves are struggling?
Yeah, I want you to know that you are not alone. In fact, you are one of us who number in the tens of millions. There is a way out. You are loved if nobody told you you're loved today. And at the end of every NA meeting we do, we say have a moment of silence for the addict who still suffers in and out of the rooms. And some of us, put our own little flair on it, but we like to say, at one point, this moment of silence was for you. So you're not alone. If you need help, ask for help. Google is a great start. I freaking love Google. Yeah, that's really the gist of it.
I love when you said a goal without a plan is just a wish. I know that's not your specific quote, but it's not one that I've heard in a while. Definitely heard before, but haven't heard it in a while. So thanks for putting that reminder out there.
Thanks for having me.
It is our pleasure. Erik Russell is our guest. Can they find you on Facebook?
I'm not on Facebook.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Talk about
wanna know
stay
why?
healthy. Stay healthy.
Addiction and politics.
Stay healthy.
Yeah.
Stay healthy.
Yeah, I'm.
Your mental health is very important.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's okay. That's okay.
Oh, my band is on YouTube.
Yeah. Bro, you got to let us know if your band is out and performing. Well, for real, I'm serious
I'll
about
get
the
you.
Advocates for Recovery.
I would
too,
love to do that. Yeah.
because I'll put you in touch with Tanya. We'll set that up.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool.
Me and Nani will strong arm. This
We
is
love
our
you,
band.
Tanya.
Yeah, we've got recordings. We're recording more. So we're putting together an album, and we got a bunch of stuff.
We
on
need
YouTube,
somebody
so-
to be playing as the group comes in.
Oh,
After they go through the motorcycles,
yes.
after they go through there, and then they go
Silver
into the,
Souls.
and then right
Yeah.
there they'll
Yeah,
go right to
Silver
where the
Souls,
band
yeah.
is already.
'Cause I've never been to that. I've
You've never been to the
been
rally?
Never been.
Oh man,
Oh
you gotta go.
man, it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember what was going on last time.
Beautiful weather on
Yeah.
a September
Weekend
weekend.
was probably in Kansas.
Yeah. So you're free, but
I'll
we'll
be there.
get you this next one.
I'll be there for sure.
We want to thank everybody for joining us here on Sharing Our Stories. Our guest, Erik Russell from Denver.
Yeah,
From
raised.
from Denver.
there's 5 of us natives left.
I'm not a native, so he ain't lying. Are you a native?
I was born in the Springs, but I grew up everywhere else.
Okay, you're a Colorado
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah.
He said it doesn't count. Straight up, doesn't count.
Yeah.
Erik Russell is our guest. If you would like to come in and be a guest here on Sharing Our Stories, just leave us a message right on the video, or just go to our inbox and drop us a message saying, hey, I want to come in, and we will get in contact with you and bring you right on here to sit with us. We try to make it a really safe and comfortable environment where you know that, hey, nobody's here to judge you. We want to support you, and we want to celebrate some recovery right here and show people that, yes, we do recover. So we'll be back next week. Thank you again to Erik
Thank you.
Russell, my girl Nani over there. By the way, Nani was in a head-on car crash.
Boo.
Her car was
Yes.
totaled.
Car was totaled.
And so she'll be talking to Erik about insurance.
It's
But-
like, every time I think I'm out,
I'm really glad that you're okay.
Thank you.
And also your boyfriend too.
Yeah.
You send him some love for us. All right, we'll be back again next week right here for Sharing Our Stories. Thank you so much for
Thanks,
being
guys.
with us. Erik Russell right here on SOS.
Agree.